I see myself, yes, as a European. Even though I was born in an Eastern European country, I still, there are some, all the time we have this in the society, different feelings, perceptions that they feel more, let's say, not European, but more connected to the Eastern culture. But I think, me myself, I identify myself all the time as an European. I also have a European citizenship, but it's not only about the citizenship, it's about this feeling also. You belong to a community, to some values, some people that kind of share the same, let's say, understanding what is happening around you, but also in terms of the culture. I feel European when I travel, to Belgium or to France. I mean, there are some, of course, specificities, but I think it's normal. Each European country has its own specificities, but in let's say in global terms, I feel European either I go to Belgium or to France or to Germany. So yeah, this perspective, I feel European. There are two moments, I think. Both of them are very, let's say, symbolic to me, to my story. One of these moments happened when I was in the high school, and then I had the chance to participate in a contest organized in Romania. So at that time, we had to travel to Romania. Myself being a Moldovan citizen, I had to apply for a visa. It was my first contact, let's say, with Europe, and surprisingly, the contest was like the European school, the school of the future or something. So we had to write an essay, to participate. We won a place, and we went there to present our essay. It was interesting because it was the first time you went out of the country alone. I was a teenager, and it was very, let's say, surprising because Romania, the city we went wasn't very far. It was quite close, but it was a bit different from what we had, let's say, in my own home city or in general in the country. So I felt very, let's say, at the same time interacting with, let's say, teenagers from there, young people from the region. It was very, let's say, thought provocative, So we kind of exchange. We saw how they are studying their schools, what the conditions are in the schools. So it was something new for us to discuss. I think this was one of the first moments when I kind of, let's say, realized that something is changing and something is different, let's say, a bit from what we have. But also the second moment, I think the most important was my first Erasmus experience. I think for a lot of you young Europeans now, you take it as for granted that you can apply for Erasmus, go to another European country, study for, let's say, half a year or 1 year. For me, it was a new, let's say, experience in general. It was, say, discovering EU and European Union, what it was about. So I went to Poland. It was my first Erasmus experience, and I think this was the moment when I realized that you can do so many things, there are so many opportunities, but it's just the idea that people sometimes they do not have the access, or sometimes they kind of lack, let's say, the proper environment to discover those. So I think Erasmus was this kind of pushing factor, let's say, or pushing moment when you started to learn that there are a lot of other opportunities that you can benefit from, but you also can learn, interacting with a lot of different young people from different cultures, European cultures, So this was, I think, one of the formative moments that happened to me. And funny or not, I think Brexit is one of the worst moments that happened, and it's very recent. There's still people kind of trying to understand, to explain the phenomena, how it happened, why it happened. But I think it's a mistake, and at the same time, it's an opportunity to learn from, because Yeah, UK, I mean, it wasn't like, from the beginning it was very complicated. I mean, the way they wanted to have their relations and with the EU and within the EU. So I think it was all the time kind of, a lot of troubles, a lot of challenges to go through. But at this moment, I think this is kind of, a signal to all the others, because you have different movements and political parties, in Europe that are advocating for different Europe or European Union. So it's very important, to learn from this, because, to be honest, I mean, from my perspective, I saw it like, as a very, let's say, trendy thing to say, to go out, to stay, and then when I realized, that the majority of young people voted to remain. And now, there are a lot of things, a lot of friends talking to them, it's like such a big mistake, it's also disappointing. I mean, just not to take advantage of one moment of now, of, let's say, I would say fake, propaganda, all the stuff, populistic movements. I think you have plenty of them around Europe. But I think now it's a crucial, let's say, opportunity to learn from it, not to repeat it, but also to, let's say, to enhance the cooperation among the European countries, also together with the European institutions, to work better, to communicate better, because I think it's, first of all, a moment of communication, and Brexit showed that the communication it's important. How you communicate to the people, what message do you deliver? I think it's very important to take into account this moment, but also to learn and to avoid such things, to happen again. But I think UK can reply maybe in some years to come back. Let's hope. Huh? I still believe that the enlargement process was one of the most powerful tools that European Union had at the moment, and then with the enlargement in the last decade with all these 10 countries that joined the European, I think it was a very powerful moment in the recent European history, because now we can talk about many, let's say, challenges, about the integration, about the difference that still exists, between West and Eastern Europe, the challenges existing among the member states. There are, but I think it's normal, let's say, in a democratic process to have also challenges, to have also some problems, to deal with them, to talk about them. But I think the enlargement was a big thing in the history of the Europe of the European Union, since all these countries that passed through communism and through communist regimes, they realized it was their moment, to join the West, but not just to join the West in the sense, you have the access to the market and access to all these economic opportunities, but also in the sense that you kind of, you have the same feeling of belonging to the one community, European community, to share the same values, to freely, let's say, also move, from one country to another. I think maybe for us it's difficult to judge from perspective because we are young, but to the generation of our parents or grandparents, when they couldn't travel, there was like that's the main idea. We take right now many things for granted, but for that people kind of gave their lives. If you go like to the history of war and what happened and the lessons of that, but also to the recent history when people kind of striving to push to get, let's say, the union stronger, but also closer to the people, to their needs, to what they want. So. difficult, I mean, to quantify it, what the EU has done for you, but I think for me, the EU kind of, opened let's say, gave me the access to some opportunities that I couldn't have, let's say, if I stayed in one country, like in my home country. Yeah, I think this was, let's say, one of the most important things for me, because I realized, there are so many, let's say, educational, professional, also personal, opportunities to learn from, to interact with people, to learn how it is, in one country, another, to have all this all the time comparative. I think it's very important, because when you have this comparative analysis, then you can understand, and then you also can relate to other people, in a better way. Also realize it's not only your world that you live in, it's your bubble. But you go out, and there are people that have, let's say, different perspectives or different views on some problems or same issues. But I think this was, and it's the whole European Union project. I mean, it's about, going to talk to each other and, having at the end of the day, having a common position. That's, I think, is a wonderful thing, to have a common position, while at the same time, everyone on each has its own opinion or own attitude towards one thing. So I think the European Union kind of offered me, through the citizenship, but also not only through the citizenship, to the access to all this kind of, educational, as I mentioned, opportunities, professional, to widen, let's say, the horizons, to look at the things a bit different. So I think, yes, I'm grateful to this. I'd love to see at least 2 or 3 new states joining the European Union. And I think we're on the right track. I mean, with the Western Balkans and some of these countries, like North Macedonia and Albania, I think if they're not 100% ready to join, but I think if there is a political willingness and also commitment from the EU side, but also from the side of these countries to join the EU, I think it would be great. And this I would see, like, these 2 countries I would love to see, at 2030 to joining the EU. And I think there is this capacity, and I think there is this possibility. It's just a matter of how the political environment will follow and how things will happen. But also, I'm thinking by 2030, I mean, it's 10 years, it's not so much, but still it is something. I also think, by 2030, the social inequalities existing within the European Union, I think they should kind of, a little bit diminish. I think it's still a very important moment when you have very, let's say, at the social level, very unequal societies, and people, that living in a very disastrous conditions. And at the same time, you go to one city and you see it's very developed highways and all that stuff. So I think it's important, to harmonize, let's say, societies, but also to diminish these social inequalities existing. I think it's a big process. It's complicated. It depends on a lot of factors and a lot of institutions and actors and states. But I think it should be one of the priorities in the next 10 years. And that's what for the European Union is known as having the high living standards, but still, good health conditions, educational opportunities, a lot of them, but still within this system, we have different, let's say, experiences. So I think there's still some work to do in the next 10 years.